Welcome back to our course on PSE 15. In this section we're going to look at using effects, textures and frames in quick mode. If you've used these before you might skip this section, but I should point out that in PSE 15 the effects, textures and frames capability has been significantly extended. Let's start with effects. First of all, bring up the effects panel. And the first time you bring this up, and in fact in many subsequent times that you bring it up, you may see all those sort of spinning circles as PSE prepares previews based on the current image of what each of these effects will look like. Depending on the capabilities of your device, it may always take a little while for that panel to come up. These effects are categorized and the number of effects has been extended. Let's start with one near the middle, Pencil Sketch. If I hover over Pencil Sketch, there's a little drop down on the right. Click on the drop down and I'm offered alternative versions of a pencil sketch of this image. So for instance, what about that one? Or that one? And of course, as always, there is a reset button. Let's try a different one. Let's try lithograph. Let's try a different one. Now a very good idea would be for you to take an image of your own that you like and go through and try out each of these effects. I think what I've shown you so far pretty much demonstrates how they work. They can be a little bit slow to apply, but the end results, particularly if you're aiming to use images in presentations, can be extremely good. Right at the top of the list is one effect that I think is particularly good. That's Smart Looks. And if I, for instance, try that option, you can see it's not really a smart fix, but it's more making an image impressive from the point of view of a presentation. So it is subtly changing the image, but I do think this Smart Looks effect is pretty good. Once again, let me reset. Either with an image to which I have applied an effect or back to the original image. Let's look now at textures. With textures you have a range of available textures you can apply to an image. So for instance, the first one there is Cracked Paint. And now the background, effectively the canvas on which the picture is painted, is a cracked paint canvas. Some of these are quite extreme, so for instance Blue Wash or even Sunburst. And then let's suppose for some strange reason I like the Sunburst texture on that image. I might go for putting a frame on as well. The frames are down here. I have a selection of options, so for instance I could make it part of a sort of movie reel frame, 35mm frame, and there we are. Alternatively, what about a completely unsuitable frame with a nice flowery one? Yeah, that looks wonderful. Once we get into expert mode you'll see some additional options for framing and for textures and so on, but for the moment I'm going to save this particular framed picture for reasons that will become apparent later. So I'm going to do a File, Save As. I'm going to continue to have this one in the Elements Organizer. It's going to be in a version set with the original. It will be being saved as a PSD file. Note that Layers is checked because layers have been an important part of what's happened here, and I'll explain that to you later. Click on Save. I'm going to close this one. That's the end of this section. I'll see you in the next section.